It is January 1990. We have completed another month of games. Only 2 games this month, but going forward, there will typically be more than 2 games a month. But this month's games are Motocross Maniacs and Fortress of Fear. Let's go over our tier list really fast. We have Classic, Great, Good, Bad, and Average. Once again, bad is above average because there's nothing worse than a bad game than an average game. And classics are going to be games that you don't have to like playing Game Boy games to enjoy. That's pretty much everything else is self-explanatory. That's really it, so let's just talk about the games here. Motocross Maniacs up first. Now, where do I put this? As per usual, I did not prepare for this. I did not think about this until I started making it, so we're going to do this on the fly. Motocross Maniacs. Is it a classic game? No. Definitely not. Is it an average game? Definitely not. It's not even a bad game. So we're looking at great and good. Is it in the same tier as Castlevania Adventure? Probably not. Castlevania Adventure is, almost on classic tier. I just think it's the difficulty of it makes it a little bit more niche. Motocross Maniacs isn't hard. You know what? This I think this is pretty easy. I think this is good. I think it's good. Obviously the hard thing about these Game Boy games and playing on an emulator, even though, or hypothetically, if I was playing these on an emulator, Nintendo, is I'm not sure if it's the game or the ROM that has a couple problems. Sometimes it doesn't seem like your motorcycle is on the actual ground, like there's a couple pixels separating the wheels and the road, which does lead to problems. You know what is working for this game, though, is that it is pretty unique. Like, they could have easily just done some bad remake of Excite Bike, but they actually made a pretty unique game. I don't think I've played a game like this other than that weird web game, Line Rider? Is that what it was called? I don't know. It was some weird game on a website that had to have been based on Motocross Maniacs. But I think that's really all there is to be said about Motocross Maniacs. I think you should try it. It is fun and unique. It's just not good enough to be great. There's also not a lot of content in the game. There's essentially 8 stages with 3 difficulty settings, but the difficulty settings don't change the course. It changes the amount of time you have to beat them in. And it didn't take too long to master. It was just kind of, The last game of this month is Wizards and Warriors X, not 10. Wizards and Warriors X, Fortress of Fear. This is the 3rd Wizards and Warriors game. I have played one of the other ones. Off the top of my head, I think it was 2. I don't know. It was the one with Fabio on the cover, like I mentioned in the video. And that game sucked. Ah, that's not fair. I didn't like that game. And this game is pretty much the same thing, but on a Game Boy. Now, here's something I never do. I never look up, and I mentioned this before, but I never look up reviews of games or what other people think of these games, because honestly, sometimes it just ruins the game, especially if I know I'm going to play it. Then, I'll just form my own opinion. Unfortunately, after I beat this one, I did look up some videos on what other people thought, because I just kind of I don't know, I was just curious, I guess, what other people thought. But I just had such a different experience than people thought this game was really hard, and it was difficult, but I don't know, I guess I'm just more able to just sit there and try to figure out or memorize a whole level. I don't know if it's people who play a lot of newer games who just kind of assume that they're just gonna be able to go through the game in one go, and if they lose, it's kind of over. I mean, in these older games, it's all level memorization, so you kind of just have to memorize a level and then not care if you get a game over on the next screen. Just keep memorizing, and then at a certain point, you make one final run to get all the extra lives and everything, and then you do the last stage. The last boss was pretty hard because I don't know. Maybe if I had to attempt him more times, I would have figured out a pattern that he was doing, but I had so many lives because there's so many hidden lives and ways to get extra lives in this game that, you know, I kind of just threw as many of my lives at the last boss as possible, and I killed him. But yeah, I don't know. It's an okay game. This is gonna be another good game. Oh man, you know, I don't know. This might be an average game because I wouldn't call it bad, because my bad tier is like, it was at least entertaining, you know, but it wasn't really. It was kind of just like a grind to get through. Like, if I wasn't doing this project of beating every Game Boy game, I probably wouldn't have bothered doing it. And I think that going forward is a good like bar to set. Like, would I have tried to finish this game by myself without doing this? Probably not. What did I enjoy? What did I enjoy in this game? I enjoyed... Yeah, not much. I'm not gonna lie, not much did I enjoy in this game. The monsters were boring, sometimes unfair. Actually, the mobs weren't unfair. What was unfair was the flying axes. If you've played this game, you know what I'm talking about, but there's these flying axes that seem to have a random hitbox. And actually, I guess just in general, the hitboxes were off. Once again, I don't know if that was the ROM or the you know, the game itself, but hitboxes seem to be a little off, especially for the flying axes. So that was kind of annoying. Not very fun. Actually, I will say, the one thing I did like was every boss except for the final boss. And honestly, the final boss might have been fun, like I said, if I spent more time on him. But it did feel like you can figure out the boss moves and then not be hit. And I love that. It's very Castlevania-esque. Now, if Castlevania is a great game, that's the bar I should put. If Castlevania is a great game, what does that make Wizards and Warriors? Because it is a horrible version of Castlevania, I would say. In terms of, like, you know, side-scrolling. There's hidden stuff. There's bosses at the end of every stage. And it's just a bad game. I don't know. I'm going to put it on average. I just don't like Wizards and Warriors games. I think some people may have fond memories of it. But I don't think... Well, yeah, it's just not my game, I guess. I'm more of a Castlevania guy, it turns out. And that was January of 1990. Only 2 games, but next month we have more games. So probably a longer video and more games added to this list, which is nice.